All opinions expressed by Jose and Ben or any of the guests on this show are solely their opinion and their opinion alone. Their opinions do not reflect the opinions of any other sponsors or other parties involved in the recording of this show. Do not treat any opinion expressed by Jose and Ben as a specific endorsement to make a particular investment or follow a particular strategy. Their expressions of their opinion on this show is purely for informational purposes. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to Thriller Premium. Welcome to Thriller Premium.
What's going on, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Talking in Bits, where we walk you through Bitcoin bit by bit so we can provide you with the information you need to succeed and persist. Back with episode 32, got Ben in the house as always.
What's going on, bro?
Another good week, another beautiful week.
FOMO is here. FOMO is back.
Definitely. I've been fielding a bunch of questions. I'm sure you have too.
Yeah, pretty much.
Action to price, I guess, or
Price action.
Result to price?
Yeah, I mean, you have a new form of currency that's at 48,000 a coin,
Yeah.
up from 30,000 in not a long time.
That's back from the dead, right?
You know,
'Cause
resurrected.
I think a lot of people were
Yeah.
thinking when it went, half of all-time high was like, this is it. Yeah, we were right. It's going to die.
hmm
And I think now is like, is there like a double FOMO? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean,
Like they probably saw it, they thought it was gonna die, and now it's like a double FOMO because it's like it didn't die.
I have a friend who he hit me with the, I sold on the dip. Wifey didn't know how
Ouch.
much I was buying, so they weren't really on one accord. So I was like,
Ouch.
all right, that makes sense. And I was like, start with the Bitcoin standard, start with layered money.
Sure.
Start with, Jason Williams' book, get on one accord about Bitcoin,
Yeah.
get on one accord about, debt and all these things. And then
Accord,
set
you
up-
mean like agreement?
an agreement
Gotcha.
where you say, hey, we're going to handle this debt, we're going to handle this credit card, and then we're going to invest this much a month, be
Yeah.
it S&P 500 or Bitcoin or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's my approach to stuff like that where,
This isn't relationship advice.
this is not relationship advice, but,
Yeah, no, you
that's
should-
what I would say.
I mean, we're something that you collect, you consume, right? Like you actually hold. It'll be a damn shame to not get your partner on board.
Yeah.
Because it goes away when you go away.
Mhm.
So yeah, when we talk about these multi-sig things and all this stuff, it's for that. It's
Yeah.
so yeah. The word accord I've never heard of that word used for that.
One accord. Yeah,
One accord.
just-
I like that.
Agreement.
Yeah, I think with this, it's the same thing as a savings plan or a retirement plan. Like
Mhm.
you want your other or loved ones to be able to access this stuff because, when it's game over, it's game over.
Mhm.
Right. So lately I've been on that and trying to figure stuff out and clever ways to do it. But I think it's making me better in my explanation because now it's making me do it in a way that's not overcomplicated.
Yeah.
Right. Because if I go now and tell my wife, X-pub this, and she's gonna be like, listen, man,
I don't know what
game
you
over
talking
when you
about.
die, sir.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's supporting y'all if you understand the value of this, like we do. If you are listening to the show, you understand that you don't want it to be game over. You want to pass this on, and you want to leave it in the ability for somebody else to get it. What the
Mhm.
hell's the point? So
Mhm.
we talked a little bit before the episode, and we figured we should go back to the basics.
Yeah, man.
So
Bitcoin for noobs.
Bitcoin for noobs. There's actually resources out there that are much better than what we're about to give you,
Yeah.
that are probably called the same thing.
Yeah.
But we'll do our best. Where do you want to start, man? I mean,
What is Bitcoin? I mean,
Go first.
So we had I got the boys at home. They had a friend over, and we started playing Monopoly. And I'm like, all right, how do I kind of explain what is Bitcoin?
yeah,
Um,
very hard.
obviously, there's a lot of different ways to explain it.
Super hard.
But how would you sum it up in few sentences?
I like the one sentence, but this one's weird too because they have to know what this is. But I like the ultimate digital property rights.
Yeah.
Like I think it's just one of those things that we value stuff we own, and this is the ultimate proof of ownership.
Mhm.
But if they don't know what property rights are, if they don't care about property rights, then that may be a bad skew. But yeah, it's hard. I don't have a one. I kind of just feel it out. I talk to the person, and then I try to just spill stuff. Sometimes it ends up in me fire hosing them in the face. Because it's complicated, and
Yeah.
sometimes they get it the first time, and they're like, the digital gold thing still works, but I don't like using that one because
Yeah.
the more and more I learn, it's just not that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you use?
I understand digital gold. I understand digital real estate. Those are just like
Yeah.
metaphors, right? Because that doesn't explain Bitcoin.
Right.
It's digital personal property rights that are unconfiscatable, that are borderless, that are trustless, that are permission. Like there's so many things to say
Yeah.
about it. I think it depends on who I'm talking to.
It's hard, yeah.
Yeah.
And some people are
So-
just cool with the money of the internet. Some people just
It's
cool.
internet money.
Yeah. But I don't know. I've had all conversations, but since this is a newbie episode, then yeah, I think property rights is the right thing. This is
Yeah, so
something you actually own, whether you want to consider an asset or a collectible, whatever it is. Collectible is not the right word, but whatever word you want to use, you own this. And like you said, you can take it anywhere. It can't be taken from you.
As long as it's in your possession.
Which we'll get into, right?
Mhm.
If we're going to do a news episode, we might as well go over cold storage. But, you know, the fast answer, if anybody is new to the listener, and shout out to you, new listener, old listeners, last time listeners, shout out to all of y'all.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're new and you're coming on, just, you know, Bitcoin requires for you to go down this, you said it a little while ago, radical truth. So I would just say, you know, be ready for life to change as you see it. But whatever it is that you're trying to solve, start from that angle. Because Bitcoin solves a lot of things. So if you're wondering why you work 9 to 5 and can't barely get by, you're going to find out that, you know, taxation and a lot of different things lead to that. So naturally, you'll bump into Bitcoin, right? If you're just looking for, you know, this tribe of people, you know, like religion is the best one to explain. These circles of people that are like you, that feel like you're on the same path, you're going to bump into Bitcoin, right? So I say that's good advice for somebody new. What is it that you're trying to solve in your life? And see how Bitcoin solves that problem. Because I think 9 out of 10 times, if not 10, you're going to bump into Bitcoin.
I think a lot of people come into it as, you know, they start learning about Bitcoin. Like, oh, what is Bitcoin? I heard it's a good investment. And again, you know, you put skin in the game, and then that causes you to learn more. And then you put more skin in the game, and then you're, again, down the rabbit hole that doesn't stop. What is it? Robert Kiyosaki posted yesterday, happy 50th anniversary to the fake U.S. dollar.
Yeah,
when gold was taken off, you know, the U.S. standard. Yeah, I saw your post on Twitter. And
so like, what the fuck happened? 1971?
Yeah, like what happened in 1971 and why didn't it get reverted? You know what I mean? Where gold is no longer equivalent to $1 and we have this fake money. Yeah. And that's why, you know, it steals our time and it steals our money. So it's crazy.
Back to what I was saying, it kind of just seems like it's always money related.
Yeah.
It's, you know, and that's what the fuck happened in 1971, right? Like that, perfect that you brought that up because, you know, when I say try to find, you know, what's wrong with you in life right now, it doesn't mean like if you're crazy or that. It's like, what are you struggling with? And it usually ties down to money and the lack of it, or you may have an abundance of money, but then the lack of time that you gave up for it. So it's always correlated somehow, some way. And then, you know, when you go down the Bitcoin rabbit hole, it starts to make more sense. And then you start to like devalue that money in your mind more, which frees you up to be more responsive, to be more open, to be less angry.
I like breaking it down in terms of energy. You know what I mean?
It's a great example.
Like it's been said that, you know, Bitcoin is, you know, a cyber bank in space, but it's energy that's stored there. Yeah. And the energy is not diluted. You know what I mean? And when you start thinking about like your own time and your own money in terms of energy, it's like, you use your energy in exchange for this money, be it a 9-to-5 job or, you know, a one-time gig job or whatever. Yeah. And your whole goal is to take that energy and store it somewhere where it can't be confiscated by a third party, be it a thief or a government. And you want it to grow over time, and it just does that easily. But, you know, over the weekend we were hanging out, and you had mentioned like we're all batteries. Yeah. And they want our energy. Yeah, absolutely. And like it's one of those like Matrix moments, like. Yeah,
they're going to pillage us for all that energy. Yeah, and their system is completely designed to pillage us for that energy. Exactly. Because that feeling that you feel at the end of a workday, where you know you're dissatisfied and you're angry, is physically tired, right? Yeah. Of course, but it's also the accumulation of just going to bat every single day and still not being able to hit a home run. Yeah. But when you realize that, you know, in this game, the wall is designed to move and fluctuate away from you, further and further away from you. Mm-hmm. Man, you could build up the strength, the energy, the timing, and the coordination to hit a 400-yard home run. But when they move the wall to 500, you start all over again. Mm-hmm. You just run out. You just can't. And that's that frustration that the majority of the people find. So, you know, I could tell you it's digital money. I could tell you it's the gold. I could tell you all these things. But if you don't care for those things, it's nothing. You don't. You'll be in Ethereum in a heartbeat because somebody in Ethereum is going to tell you saying, "Yo, but it can solve this," and then you're just thinking, "But that's just gold. This does a bunch of woo blah woo wow, all the advertisement that they do." That's why people get stuck in shitcoinery. So you have to find something personal you're trying to solve in your life. Yeah. And it's probably money related, energy related, life related. Yeah. And Bitcoin solves it. So if you're new, I mean, if you listen to the show, episode 2, 3, we were telling you digital gold, go get it. You know, we were talking about, you know, getting interest, getting all these things, get more of it. You know, and as you can see, you mature, you behave, you start to educate yourself, and then it gets closer to your life. And not to your wealth, if that makes sense. But those two things in the back end, make life better. Because if you have wealth, all those concerns of how you're going to eat, how you're going to survive, and thus for your legacy, go away.
Yeah.
And this is only possible, like you said, you have to put it somewhere that nobody can take it, mess with it, or whatever. We've never had this as human beings.
Yeah.
Never in life. Go back to the beginning of time. There was always a chief or a different tribe coming into town ready to destroy everything. You could even dig it into the ground because they're going to find it, they're going to kill it, whatever. This is the first time ever, and this is why this is so huge. This is why we even wasted our energy, not wasted, but spend our energy trying to do a show about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Because this is different. I'm not doing a show on Ethereum.
Listen,
I'm not doing that's not different.
Case in point, you got a city in the Middle East being overtaken right now.
Yep.
You got people fleeing to the airports.
Yeah.
How do you flee if the government says you can only leave with $100 per person, and you obviously can't take a pile of gold?
The answer is you can't.
Bitcoin is borderless and permissionless.
Yeah.
You know
so when you're storing your energy, which is what humans have done forever, because remember, we care about our offsprings. That's inherent in us. We care about what comes after us, regardless if you should or not. We do. So we've always tried to find ways to be wealthy, to be able to make it easier for everything that comes after us and for us ourselves selfishly. And there's one of those things. But it always gets taken from us, whether it's, back in the day, some type of, anything that was authoritarian is going to take it away and has designed systems to do so. 1971 is an example of that. I want to move on to how do we get Bitcoin, which will probably be the next newbie question.
Yep.
But yeah, what is Bitcoin? Very complicated answer. Extremely complicated. I still don't think I know what it is.
Same here.
But, we could just say that it's never happened before. And the reason we don't know what it is yet is because we've never seen it before. So what do we relate it to? What do we compare it to? And I think that's the mistake that I've done since my time in Bitcoin. I always tried to relate it to something or compare it to something. Uncharted territory. There's nothing to relate it to. We've never seen this before. We've never had this before. You can't find it in the history books. You can't read about it. You can't alter it. You can't fix it. We're kind of just like blindfoldedly going forward with this thing. But it does all the properties of value correctly. Yeah. So we trust that even though we don't know where we're going, this will get us through it. Yeah. Because the alternative is designed to move the fence away from us.
Agreed.
Next question.
Yeah, how do I get Bitcoin?
What's your answer? That's a tough one, too.
Yeah, there are physical ATMs that you can go to. They're popping up everywhere, man.
Yeah, is there one around here?
Yeah, I think there's one on Chandler Street.
Is it KYC free? I think they are, right? I
haven't tried it yet.
Inherently, I think. But what my question always was, and not to get off topic, when you put your credit card into that, that's KYC, right?
Cash.
I didn't think about that.
See?
Most ATMs,
Marty
do they take
Bird,
cash?
my man. I don't know. It has to take cash. It should take
I
cash.
hope so. If it doesn't, then it's not KYC. It's not non-KYC. But anyway,
it should take cash.
So what are the other ways to buy? Complete newbie.
Yeah, you're going to want to go. I mean, if you have Cash App, you can use Cash App. And there are other apps, Gemini, Binance US, Coinbase.
Yeah.
They're going to take a nice fee.
Chunky fee.
No matter where you go. But yeah, you can get it directly from your phone off your fingertips.
Yeah.
Hook up your bank and, you can acquire. All right, so here's another thing. You might be deterred that you don't have $48,000 to buy an entire Bitcoin, but you can buy $20 worth of one, which will probably get you, I don't know, 40,000 sats or something small.
Yeah.
But yeah, so view Bitcoin in terms of sats. And so 100 million sats is one whole Bitcoin. So, just think about the thousands, the millions, the hundreds of thousands that you're stacking and kind of view it through that. And I think that'll encourage you. Just start buying, set it up for $20 a week, maybe $20 on a one-time buy, maybe $20 a day, wherever you're at. But the best way to invest is to dollar cost average, where you're just buying on autopilot no matter what. If the price is $60,000 or $30,000, it's all good. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I think the important, and you expound on this a lot when we talk, is just the skin in the game. So don't overthink it. We are going to talk about cold storage and these things. Don't think that if you don't do cold storage right off the bat, that somehow is not a good thing or whatever. I think Cash App is the easiest on ramp.
Yep.
Because everybody our age has a Cash
App. Yep.
There is Venmo, other services. We don't advocate for any of them. But I guess what we're trying to say is, try to find what you have in your phone already, and if it sells Bitcoin, get some skin in the game. Cash App was my easy way. I think that's most people's easy way. We talk about Strike here all the time. Coinbase, all those stuff. Although we don't advocate for them, what we're saying is it's much more important to get skin in the game so you can start learning than it is to worry about in the very beginning who you're getting it from. Because you can get it from a lot of places, and they all have their ups, the pros, cons. If this is a noobs episode, and I hate the word noobs, but it's an easy way
just
to sum it up.
Someone who's interested in Bitcoin and wants to learn more.
You'd be surprised how many people are offended by the word noob, by the way. But yeah,
I don't take it as offensive.
I don't either, but I've been appalled at the people that do.
Yeah.
Because I guess video game world is like demeaning. I remember calling people noobs, and I still meant you were noob.
Well, I think when you're playing a video game, it's like, oh, you're a noob, but you're like disrespecting them.
Okay.
Because they're probably not a noob. You know what I'm saying?
So maybe those sour folks are video gamers and they haven't had bad history. I don't think it's a bad. It literally just defines your position in the place. Yeah. But yeah, just jump in, do all that. A very easy one for noobs is the keys situation.
Yeah.
So I know you would be saying, Jose, Ben, you guys always tell us the keys, but why would you tell me to go? We're not talking to you specifically if you already got skin in the game. But if you don't have skin in the game, listen, you're probably going to put like $20, like you said.
Yeah.
You don't need keys at that point. That knowledge is not, I guess, necessary. You're not losing generational wealth for $20. So skin in the game, Cash App. That's probably the best advice. If you have Venmo, try it. PayPal, whatever, try it. Strike, try it. Whatever you got, try it. Come into a bank near you. Don't worry.
Yep.
You'll see it in one of your, you'll see it coming soon.
Bank of America tab.
Cash App, I think, is the best way. I think it's helpful. I know people have a lot of different opinions about a Jack-led company, but they've shown to be Bitcoin friendly.
Yeah.
They do cool stuff. They have the little, I don't know if you noticed, like the little what is Bitcoin thing you could tap there, and they got like a little story that you could slide.
Interesting.
And it's animated, and they give you a basic,
That's pretty cool.
who Satoshi was thing. So they're just Bitcoin friendly, and they always make it easy to transact in Bitcoin. I think everything in their app is easy. So
easy.
If you use Cash App now and you've sent some dollars before, that's how it is with Bitcoin. The Cash App has blurred the wall between what you can do. Get skin in the game.
Yeah.
And then naturally from there, dollar cost average would be next, I would say.
Yeah.
Get a skin in the game and then set up a plan.
Yeah.
You don't want to put $5 one time and then forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
You want to hold yourself accountable, $5-10 a week. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever you can.
I like the Acorn tactic. I bring that up a lot. I never used Acorn itself, but if I learned one thing from them is that's a clever way to save money.
Absolutely.
So, basically you have $2, cup of coffee costs you $1.50. You take the $50, scrape them into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
50. Thank you. 50 cents, scrape them right into sats. You can't buy 50 cents worth of sats, but you could buy $1 worth of sats. So just basically scrape all your change into Bitcoin. That's a good strategy just to get sats automatically by doing stuff you already do.
Yep.
I think I could say that there's a lot of cards that do it now too, but that might be a little bit advanced. There's credit cards and debit cards that give you sats back. That's another way to do it automatically on autopilot.
Mm-hmm.
But let's keep circling around the same thing. Skin in the game, set up a plan for how you're going to continue to add to this. If you have a stock background, same thing. You're going to try to put money in over time to try to see where this thing goes. Next thing would be is once you get to a good amount, would be cold storage. Is that next in line?
Yeah.
So if you get, what's our rule of thumb? Anything you're not willing to lose, right? Like, if you think about cash in your pocket, that's a good one. If you got cash in your pocket and you're walking down the street, you're not going to walk down the street, depending on what neighborhood you're from, with $500 in your pocket. You may do it with 20, you maybe do it with 50 or 100. 500 is, not a logical thing to walk around with. Consider cold storage to be that.
Yeah.
So when you get enough Bitcoin or sats that would equal to something that you really want to protect, up comes cold storage. Want to run through cold storage?
Yeah. So currently, if you have money on Coinbase, Cash App, Gemini, all these apps, it's basically you want to look at it as kind of like a bank where it's in a third party's hands. And so if that third party gets robbed or there's an issue or whatever, you might have an issue then withdrawing your Bitcoin. And so you want to take that, you want to set up cold storage, which then becomes your own bank, so to say. And you'll have a 24-word password, typically your seed phrase, and that's going to get you in and out of the vault. If you lose that, you lose access to the vault. There's one master key. You can't make an exact duplicate with cold storage. With multi-sig, you can add multiples, so there's multiple seed phrases to get back in. But just with one cold storage, you'll have that one set of passwords. You don't want to lose that. You want to back it up, put it in a safe place. Have a lockbox at your house, have a lockbox at a sibling's house, and you want to spread a duplicate of that around so you don't lose access to that vault.
Definitely. So, just the ultimate ownership. When you make the transition into cold storage, you've basically decided that you, in a good way, you don't trust anybody.
Yeah.
You're ready to take matters into your own hands.
You become sovereign.
Absolutely, by definition. But that's not a bad thing. I have an early mentor in Lightning. I wouldn't say Bitcoin, but in Lightning that helped me with a lot of Lightning-related stuff. Always tell me, hey, man, in Bitcoin, paranoia is essential. And regular life, paranoia might not be such a good idea. You might be the dude that never leaves the house, right? So yeah, when you get to that level, you're like Ben said, this is your key to your vault. You only have one. Sometimes the seed word is 12. I do want to bring that up. It's not always 24. 24 adds more security, but a lot of people like the convenience of 12. Easy to remember. It works the same way. And yeah,
it's a longer password.
Correct. Yeah, and you can't make another one unless you have those words. This is non-negotiable. There's no customer service. There's nobody that's going to save you. There's nobody that can make up the words. There's nobody that can guess the order. There's
no password hint. You can't reset it to my email or no text alert.
None of that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, there's layers in front of your seed that your device might give you, like a PIN, and that's more traditional, like ATM stuff. That's for your device. This is not. I've had people do this, and this is terrible. This is not going to recover your Bitcoin. Your PIN does nothing but get you into the device. The seed words that you get only one time, you get them when you set up the wallet on that device. You would only get them one time, and most of these hardware wallets prompt you, hey, last time, did you get these? I can't speak for all of them. I think they all do it. But Code Card quizzes you on them afterwards. So, hey, all right, let's run through these. What's number 4? What's number 5? What's number 7? And this is to make sure you have this, and this is important because there's no locksmith. There's no customer service. You won't be able to replace these words. But the beauty of it is, that sounds dangerous. I know a lot of noobs are probably like, I never want to do that. This is the beautiful thing is, though, like Ben said, that means that you can recover anywhere in the world as long as you have an internet connection and obviously a Bitcoin protocol device that's, reading the blockchain or whatever. The power of that is just astonishing.
Yeah. Can you give out an example that you would have to recover?
Oh, easy. You update your firmware, it crashes the device. Recover.
Okay.
So imagine you have 3 Bitcoin on your device. Hey, firmware, you somehow do it wrong, or it happens. The company.
Device failure. Company goes out of business.
The company just had a bad line in the code that was crashing devices. Yeah. That happens. And they could pull it back. If you have your words, you recover. If you don't, you just lost 3 Bitcoin. And the company is not going to come save the day. And somewhere in those terms, I'm sure you signed up to say that they're not liable for you to lose your money either. So that's an easy example. But another example would be you have a multi-sig address. You trusted somebody with a second key, like a business partner. That person disappeared. They have the device, but you have the seeds. You recover on a different device. You move the funds somewhere else. Very important. Very flexible. And then the obvious ones. If I lose it, I could always recover. Like if your house gets broken into, if there's a fire, if you want to leave a will and testament. There's so many ways because you got to remember, this is what makes this so valuable is that. And why people say it's unconfiscatable is because how do you eliminate memory? Like if I know these words, there's no way that you can tell me that I can tell you these words, literally. So you would have to ban words, like the English language, which is, or numbers, or you would have to ban these things that universally you can't ban.
That's when humans get fused with robots, right?
What do you mean? When they wipe memories?
Neuralink.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, that would be funny. Like a back. We're going off the noobs here. But
cyber talk now.
Yeah, when you have like a back door in your Neuralink that wipes your Bitcoin memory or something.
They'll try to do it, bro.
Of course.
They want your energy.
Yeah, so. but back to why what would be a good example? They wipe your memory, but your wife still got it. They can't do nothing.
Yeah.
As long as you're good with your what your ops, right? Like what your setup plan is, and everybody has a different one. So I don't want to get over the noobs' heads. As long as you have your corners kind of figured out, there's really no way you can lose this.
Yeah.
And multi-sig helps with that.
I really like the idea of they have small boxes that you can get. They're like $30, fireproof.
Yeah.
Get those for documents. You could have a few of those.
There's a lot of stuff, man. There's a lot of and more stuff coming. I see creative stuff all the time. And the DIYers, Bitcoiners, the plebs. I never did it, but have you seen this thing where they get I don't know what they call it, but they're like washers,
no.
and they kind of embed somehow
QR codes.
No, they're washers, like literally washers for your desk or whatever, that go with a screw.
Okay.
But they filled out this way where they could embed it into the washers, like the passphrase, and then they pin it together with a screw. It's really cool. I didn't do it because I'm all set with my spec ops.
Yeah.
But I was like, these guys are just getting better and better and more creative, and it's gonna get better over time.
Yeah.
Multi-sig has been my latest favorite thing, just because it just makes sense.
Let's talk about multi-sig.
Yeah. So if we want to elevate from cold storage, guys, in Ben's example where you have this one key, and that's your one thing. But that's also your failure point, because if that one key gets compromised and you didn't do anything to back yourself up, then you kind of screw. So multi-sig helps you with that. It's not technically a cold storage because the multi-sig has to be made of multiple addresses. So therefore, it's not one dependent on one. But it just gives you a little bit of a slip error, right? Yeah. So it's like if my device gets screwed, then you got 2 other devices that can sign transactions. And then, if that person gets compromised, et cetera, and there's like roundabout.
So there's 3 points of failure versus 1.
They call it a quorum. Right.
Gotcha.
So when you set up a multi-sig quorum is what they call it. Yeah. You basically saying that I trust these other 2 keys along with my key for security purposes to make sure whatever, my will and testament, blah, blah, blah. You can use it for many different reasons.
Yep.
But the beauty of that is that say you were to keep your seed phrases in your house with your code card or with your Trezor or with your ledger, house burns down, you lost both of them. You lost the seeds and you lost the because you didn't split them up or you didn't have time, right? Fires are unpredictable. Maybe you were going to do it next week. You didn't get to do it. The multi-sig will make sure that unless all 3 devices and all 3 seeds were in the house, you're still good. And it's, it is 3 points of failure, but you can make it 6 or 9 or right. Because the thing is there's bigger multi-sigs, but what I mean is it's not hardware device specific.
Yeah.
So I could spread out seeds in 10 different places.
Yeah.
Right. And then I have 10 different places where I can recover my seed.
Yeah.
The only problem with that is you have to trust 10 different people or 10 different places or 10 different. But you guys get the point. This is not, because if you were paying attention, you were probably thinking to yourself, well, that's scary because somebody could take it from me or whatever, or I'll lose it, or I suck at that stuff. I've heard that one a lot, by the way. I suck at remembering stuff. You don't if you value it. Difference.
Yeah.
You don't suck at taking care of your kids. Well, some people do. But yeah, you get the point. If you value it, you do a good job of it. But yeah, multi-sig is designed. Back to we've never seen stuff like this before. Multi-sig, it's like, this is not new. Like, this is baked in. People thought of this stuff way before you and I even entered. So, yeah, newcomers, if you're scared about that single point of failure, there is a solution. Don't go there yet. I still think getting skin in the game is much more important than learning about all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But logically, you go from skin in the game, I don't want to lose this, to I want to be able to be more secure.
Yep.
And multi-sig is the next stage in that.
Yeah.
What do you think is next?
History of Bitcoin? Like who I guess who created Bitcoin?
We don't know.
Yeah.
Do the Cash App thing. It's probably much more you pay. But yeah, just to kill some, to kill some time and give some content here. So Satoshi Nakamoto, we don't know he, she, group, single individual.
Yeah.
We only know story about what he's contributed to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
The fact that in 2009, I believe January, during one of England's fiscal crises, financial crises, when the banks were coming to get bailed out by the Fed over there, Satoshi released Bitcoin. It was already in the works before that. Basically with an embedded message in the first block that said that was the headline of the day, right? Basically, hey, the banks are getting a second bailout. Most people don't care about the bank, but that basically means that if you have money in the bank or if you're associated with money in any way, shape, or form, you got screwed on that day, big time. Whether you knew it or not, you got screwed on that day, big time.
Yeah.
So yeah, Satoshi group entity, we don't know. We just know he contributed this. It's open source code. He stuck around for, I believe, the first 3 years, or she or them stuck around for the first 3 years and then decided to give the project up for the people because this is paraphrasing, but in his words, Bitcoin will never be able to achieve its status as long as Satoshi is around.
Yeah.
And that's for obvious reasons. That's why we see Ethereum fail. That's why we see these other things fail, depending on how you view it. Some people think they're winning. You're going to fail because you can't have the entity that controls, that makes the decisions, the arbiter of truth. Historically, that doesn't work because humans are easily corruptible. Humans are power hungry. And, once again, when we're talking about generational wealth and this thing that can't be taken away, you don't want it in one person's hearsay, she say. This is a little bit technical, but the DAO example with Ethereum, where they basically just said, no worries, y'all. We're just going to flip this chain back and revert it. When we talk about energy and what proof of work is, and we won't in this episode because it's far beyond even our stretch, it should be like the more blocks come out, the harder it is to revert history, to change time, to change history. So for me to just hear, hey, y'all, we're just going to go back, 2 weeks and eliminate all these transactions that happen so we can recover all that. If you're in the banking fiat world, that's useful because you didn't lose your money.
Yeah.
But if you understand that they can do that whenever they want, with whatever reason they want, for whatever the hell incentive they get, government, that's dangerous. Yeah. That shouldn't happen. and why you don't have that entity.
What happens when a government entity treats someone like Vitalik like Snowden?
That's
you know what I mean? Where they just go at him and say,
I think
do whatever we want.
Yeah, I think that's already happening, by the way. I mean, will Vitalik say it? Of course not. Will they say it? Of course not. But I think, if not Vitalik directly, I think Ethereum as a protocol is their entry point.
Yeah.
Which is why it continues to pump. Listen, nobody has anything valuable to tell me about Ethereum at all. Yeah. Functionality is cool, but
Mark Cuban says it's
that's the problem. Right. See, it's already being bought up.
He admitted he only has $498 of Dogecoin.
What he didn't admit is the marketing dollars he got from Ethereum Foundation.
Bro, when I saw that, I'm like,
we're going past the news.
Yeah. How do you pump all that?
Yeah.
Like, how do you continuously pump that, and that's what you own? But yeah, no.
Again, it's paid in the background.
Again, this is why we like Bitcoin. There is no head central figure that could be paid or corrupted on the back end.
Right.
And their corruption eventually then screws you.
Yeah, and we like Bitcoin, but correction, Bitcoin doesn't give a shit if we like it or not. It's irrelevant if we like it or not. It's our preference. But it's because of that, I think. Like you and I could go back and forth 1,000 times to say why we like Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But I think it just does inherently what human beings love and value and care about. It does that really well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it could have been called Bitcoin. It could have called Space Coin. It could have been called.
It is.
I think just the properties that it allows humans to harness and the powers that come with it make it successful.
Yeah.
So be clear, guys. Don't take our word for it. We've said this before.
Don't trust, verify.
We like Bitcoin because of this and because it's the plebs and all this reason and blah blah blah. But I think anything, even if it wasn't solving the money problem, anything that solves any problem that inherently goes back to what humans actually value, I think we'll win 1,000% of the time. This one just happens to fix monetary problems.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we don't have to like it. We can leave right now. We can stop doing this show, and Bitcoin just gonna keep chugging along. So that's why it's weird to me. You don't want that center entity, because if you have this consensus of it's just gonna keep chugging along, and then one day you get an email that says, "Yo, your last 2 weeks of transactions have been null and void." Excuse me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you talking about? That actually destroys the point of a blockchain. Like, that's not even, that's pointless at that point. Now you just have organized database at that point. You could just go back and delete. So to the original thing, who's Satoshi in the history, Satoshi was able to present this protocol. I want to be clear, Satoshi he created Bitcoin, but he didn't create all the pieces of Bitcoin that make Bitcoin work.
Bitcoin today.
He was just a smart individual or entity, whatever, that, was a cypherpunk, I'm assuming, for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciated a lot of different projects like, SHA-256 stuff and, proof of work stuff. And was smart enough to combine these pieces together and make them work in a way where we are now. So, Nobel Peace Prize, all these things. We've never seen nothing like this before. I don't know if alien technology, I've heard that go around before. I like that stuff because, wow, what are the chances for?
I'm going to start describing it like that. What is Bitcoin? It's alien technology.
It must be. And that's why I always say he, she, or them. And I don't leave that. I know a lot of people already said on he. I don't leave them because it's so complicated. Yeah. And one person could do it over time, but it just works so well. And the argument is it's open source, so it wasn't just Satoshi, right?
Mm-hmm.
But man, this idea is brilliant. And how it fundamentally works, and how he kind of has like every backdoor, or them, whatever, have every backdoor covered. It seems to be and then over time, we've just tweaked that. We've just made it better.
Yeah.
But it was there. The foundation was there. It worked.
Yeah.
Day one.
The framework that says that, like, everyone's going to participate in this and everyone's going to be rewarded. So, like, there's no, like, taking. It's giving. You know what I mean?
The incentive structure.
The incentive structure is an even exchange for miners, for, individuals, for, everything. And so it's masterful, man. It's
perfectly execution. That's why I don't know if one person can do it. Maybe one person can do it. Maybe he was working on it longer than it's said, or that the records show.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm the person to talk about with Satoshi's history. I don't think I've dug deep enough into that. I've read a few articles. I know a few things. But to this day, that's always the question. But I think that's why it works, right? Like, there's that one deity, that one thing, that one figure. It's an open consensus system, and humans work on consensus, especially when it's a community. That's the only way humans can work. And when the consensus gets skewed is when we get these weird tyrannical situations happening. But the consensus will always win. And Bitcoin's incentive structure, as you just said, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect alien stuff. I mean, it seems like a person who was well into the future.
Yeah.
right? And like a time traveler who, if you want to go sci-fi, right? And is just well into the future, saw what happened, saw what is to come. But that's why I'm even curious about the 2140 date. Like, it's like, how did you get to this one number? Is it a mathematical thing that just ended there?
It's just the halving.
That's what I mean. Did just math just say that's where it's going to end?
Yeah, because they were like, all right, hey, we're going to create this halving system. Well, let's talk about halving. So what is halving, right? So halving is every 4 years, the supply chain gets cut in half. And so I don't know how many Bitcoins are being produced today. I think it's
a little over 6.
Okay.
Check out the board.
It's on my phone. But there's X amount of Bitcoin produced today. And
oh, you mean produced overall? I'm sorry. I thought you meant block reward. Yes, I don't know the number either. Sorry.
So on the daily, I might be 9,000.
Yeah, sure.
But 4 years from now, that'll be 4,500. 4 years after that, it'll be 2,250.
Yeah.
And just on and on and on. And so by the year 2140, the miners are no longer, I guess, getting rewarded in Bitcoin, and
there'll be no more minted, if you want to use that word.
Yeah, there'll be no more minted Bitcoin. So the only Bitcoin that will be on exchange will be purely in between
peer-to-peer swapping.
Peer-to-peer.
Yep. Miners get transaction fees. That's what the miners will work on at a certain point.
Gotcha.
But it's just, once again, it seems like a time traveler was that far ahead, came back, gave us this dope software, and took off, and just basically said that, hey, this ain't gonna work with me, and here you guys go. And kudos to the human species, right, for making this work, because Bitcoin could have just fallen through the cracks.
Yeah,
people could have just thought it was another, like, and it is another internet. But you know what I mean? Like, people would just another thing. They still do that, but many opportunities the human species could have just forgotten, like lost Bitcoin, lost the point of it. It could have not existed. You got those stories from those dudes that went from like $1 Bitcoin.
10 cents.
Yeah, there was a lot of doubt back then.
Yeah.
They didn't think it would work. A lot of people, but here we are. So shout out to the human species for not dropping the ball on this one. This is all we got left. And it's cool, man, because, when you go back to coders, and we're kind of leaving the newbie thing here for a sec. When you go back to coders ultimately are problem solvers.
Yeah. So
to get the biggest problem this whole planet is facing right now, and that's that petrodollar, that's that fiat system, and tackle that problem, and not say, I'm just going to build another SaaS app. My man went in there to try to solve global monetary problems and get it right.
Yeah. I love that, it's invented at that point where the banks were literally bailing each other out, where so many families lost houses and possessions and all these things. And it's literally like a middle finger to the system. Like, what, you guys play dirty. I'm going to roof your ball. I don't want to play. And I'm going to play over here.
Well, when I say get it first time for him or for them, for Satoshi or whatever, but like, because there's been, cypherpunks have tried to do cryptocurrency for a very long time.
Sure.
But once again, like, for this guy or this entity or this person to come up at first at bat, and say, like, is it the first at bat? See, I don't know. I don't know if he contributed to any other projecks.
They could have under their personal name.
Either way, right? This is the home run of all home runs right here. Jeez, how did you figure this one out? Maybe he did it. Maybe Satoshi was like, hey, whatever these guys do with this, cool. But I don't know. He wasn't that forward thinking. He just knew the basics, knew the principles well enough. And then we've turned it into this global machine of whatever. But now you have to get the incentives right. You have to get the system right. You have to get the core right. And then it has to function in the world. Like, it needs to live. Home run.
And then, adding on Lightning and all these other layers are just, literally doing even the Strike app.
See, I don't even think that's Satoshi, but well, human species
beyond Satoshi. This is just advancents that are happening in the Bitcoin ecosystem.
Right. But they all work because of the incentives, right? Like, Lightning works on incentives. It's just this pure system. But we went to show the cold storage. Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about how do I spend Bitcoin, I guess that could bring up Lightning.
Yeah. How do we spend Bitcoin?
You don't. But how you spend Bitcoin is you can turn fiat immediately into Bitcoin using Lightning.
Yep.
Lightning is layer 2. Don't worry, guys. It's like a fire hose to the face. I know a lot of things are happening. We're trying to break it down slowly. Please email us, reach out to us, comments, give us feedback, tweet us on what it is you want to go back and follow up. Maybe we'll do a dedicated episode on that if that's something you guys want, because we're trying to literally give this information to as much as possible. Less focused on the people that already have done this and more focused on the people that we can save. I use save like this because I'm not saving you from anything. It's your choice. But you'll see once you go down this hole, you're being saved. Lightning is layer 2.
Yep.
Layer 2 is sort of debit card for the simpleness of it.
Yeah.
So sort of how your Visa card works, you put it in, the machine says, beep, beep, you're correct. That just means that transaction's happened in the background.
Yeah.
That you didn't actually have to hold fiat cash to do the transaction. It's a smart contract in a way.
Yeah.
It's your company saying green light, he has the money in this account. And then the store or the merchant saying, well, green light, we can exchange somewhere in the background at some time. Lightning works better than that, but I want to simplify it because it's complicated. Lightning is instant. It's not settling in the background. It's settling on the spot. But yeah, you spend Bitcoin, Strike.
Yeah.
You could turn your $50 into whatever many thousand sats, and you can send them over and not have to wait for the 10-minute block time.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like right now, El Salvador has brought on Bitcoin as legal tender.
Yep.
And so street vendors and all vendors are required to accept it. They can create a QR code. You can scan that with the Strike app or an app like that. You can pay through USD, and it automatically gets converted to Bitcoin, so the vendor receives it in Bitcoin on the fly. Outside of that, I mean, there might be some U.S. companies starting to accept Bitcoin. You would just get their address or scan their address and send X amount of sats, whatever the amount of USD you're trying to get in sats to finish that transaction. But don't spend your Bitcoin because 5 years, 10 years from now, you'll say, this item that I purchased would now be worth X amount of dollars.
The price of that item is dirt.
Let's talk about the historical pizzas, right?
Yeah.
Two pizzas were purchased for how many Bitcoin?
That was a lot. Let's just say 4 for easy.
I think it was like 100.
Yeah,
I think it was over 100. It was something crazy.
Some crazy number.
But yeah, one of the first transactions, I believe, through Papa John's for 2 pizzas was a very large amount of Bitcoin. And if Papa John's would have just held that on their balance sheet, they
wouldn't exist. That'd be good.
They could have bought Domino's. They could buy out the competition at that point.
That'd be something else right now.
They'd be Amazon Pizza, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so don't spend your Bitcoin, spend your dollars, and find ways to just accumulate more Bitcoin.
Yeah. And if you have to, I guess the easy answer would be is an address-based system, sort of like email. So if you want to spend your Bitcoin, have somebody or a store merchant give you a QR code or an address for their wallet, blah, blah, blah. That's the easy answer for how to spend your Bitcoin. The little bit more complex answer would be try not to.
Yeah.
At very little. And if you have to pay in Bitcoin, then just use services like Lightning and apps like Strike to just turn that money immediately into Bitcoin. So you don't really actually hold it. It kind of just, they take your money and they do that for you in the background.
Yeah.
Fees are phenomenal, by the way, which won't always be the case. I think about that. 5-10 years from now, this stuff that we're seeing, 1 cent, 10 cent fees, I highly doubt we'll see that.
200,000 Bitcoin is probably going to have a $5 fee.
Yeah.
At that point.
And even that's nice.
Sense.
Even that's nice, pretty good. Yeah. But I don't know when that's a little bit forward. But yeah, how do you spend your Bitcoin? We covered how to save it, cold storage, multi-sig up, how to buy it. We covered that. What else? Information, read.
Yeah. What are your favorite resources?
I'm a podcast guy because they're faster and I get to bounce around topics because I need a lot of topics so that I can pick the one I like.
Yeah.
Guy Swan, shout out to Guy Swan. Bitcoin Audible is an invaluable resource for any Bitcoiner because, in my opinion, I don't know how much time y'all got. It's hard to keep up with the articles that are coming out at the pace that they're coming out. And these are not like little bullshit posts.
Essays.
These are, long compositions.
30 pages.
So, it makes sense to be working, at your desk in the background, listening to it or having a workout or whatever. So I like that. As for books, I like the higher thinkers. I think their Gigi's 21 questions and 21 answers that's about to come, I think is also a must read. If you want to understand technology and inflation, Jeff Booth, The Price of Tomorrow is a winner. Good friend Nick Bhatia, the Layered Money, if you want to understand the layers of the current system and how Bitcoin is building their own layers in that sense. I know you like Jason Williams' book. I can't speak on that.
Yeah, Jason Williams. He's a book, Bitcoin, Hard Money You Can't F With. It's written in a really dumbed down way. So, sometimes you'll listen to podcasts and
that's his flavor.
These dudes are like, they're speaking in a language that takes a lot of energy to kind of understand. Absolutely. With Jason Williams' book, it's an easy listen, easy read.
Sure.
And it's pretty informative. So I would start there. Layered Money's a good start. I love the Bitcoin Standard by Safety. And those are pretty much
that should be your Bible.
Yeah.
That should be in every household. Hotel. Stop leaving the Bible in my damn drawer and put a Bitcoin Standard book in my drawer. Especially y'all out there in Texas.
Typically they'll do I see more Mormon Bibles.
I don't look at it. I just know it's a Bible. But no disrespect.
Yeah.
So how do you know it's a Mormon Bible? Just the language?
It'll say like the Book of Mormon.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. All the books got different names.
Yeah, and I always try to scope out in case somebody left something before me. So I always kind of do like a draw check real quick or something like that, so I don't get blamed for nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's always a Bible. Put the Bitcoin standard in there. How about that? You can leave the Bible, just put the Bitcoin standard next to it. That'll be much better education. But yeah, McCormick's podcast. I don't think he's a great interviewer, which I think, if his guest is somebody, I would say like a Parker Lewis, right, where like Peter can get out the way and the guest can kind of do his thing, cool. But if the conversation is dependent on Peter, that guest is probably wasted. It's usually not a good conversation, in my opinion.
I haven't listened to enough of Peter I've listened to a few.
I appreciate his ability to get people in a room.
Yeah.
That's that Khaled thing, right? Like you can get people in a room. He's well respected. And he's done some great stuff when it comes to journalism, right? So he gets a lot of bad flack for that. But like, I personally think that his interviewing skills is not up to par. That's something that can get better and improved upon over time. So it's not like a shot. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of listening to McCormick's podcast. I'll check out Big Guest. This better. I've been listening to Stephen Livera lately. I think that's a really good podcast.
I think he's in Australia.
He is. And he has really good guests, and he's a better interviewer, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So there's free resources, guys. Those are a few. There's a few like not like Bitcoin education books. I'm forgetting the dude who did the Facebook story. I forget, Ben McCrackowitz or something like that. He wrote the book on the Winklevoss twins and like how their entry into Bitcoin. I forgot what it was called. That was a really good book that was based on actual events, but was still loose. It was like a story. So you didn't have to get real technical and educational. That's a book I recommend for people to get. Where Bitcoin has come to where it is now, and not get like fire hose to the face.
Yeah, more historical.
That's a really good. I hope they make a movie about it.
That'd be cool. They probably are.
They should. But yeah, that's free resources, paid resources. Audible books are really good.
Yep.
Like the Jason Williams books. I don't think you have to read this stuff. That's a big misconception.
Yeah, Layered Money, the Bitcoin Standard, Hard Money You Can't Mess With. All those books are on Audible, so don't think that you're forced to a Kindle or a physical copy.
Right, for sure. Go out and get that information. It's very crucial. I'm going to leave with a very free one. I may be a little biased to this, but Gradually Then Suddenly Serious from Parker Lewis is going to be a book, from what I hear. That's not a secret. That's people know that. But it should be, is my point. It's long.
Collection of essays?
16 or so and ongoing.
That's a book.
It's a book. But it's a Yeah. It's one of those where like we talk about the philosophers, we talk about this, but this is like an encompass of everything, and it comes into one spot. And Parker's just really good at expressing himself. That's also on Bitcoin Audible though, so don't get scared. I don't think all 16 of them up, and I don't even know if it's 16. It could be more, it could be less right now, but I think it's 16. But like 4 or 5 of them on Bitcoin Audible, and that'll give you like the taste of if you like it or not, and you can go on there. Also a little bit biased, but I'm a sci-fi guy. So Dhruv, CSO of Unchained Capital, also has this really cool 3-part series on Bitcoin in space and how that would be with every 10-minute blocks and proof of work and all that stuff. That may be a little bit big for newbies, but if you're into sci-fi and you wonder how currency could work in space, this is the only thing I've seen that even makes sense. So check that out. Point is, there's a lot of free stuff out there.
Absolutely.
Very easy though. Bitcoin Twitter.
Yeah.
Get on Twitter. I don't use Twitter for anything else.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's possible. Like you don't have to use Twitter for nothing else. You can just have like a Bitcoin Twitter. That's what I have. I have a Bitcoin Twitter, and I think that's the best place to get easy, digestible.
Bites.
Yeah, stuff that'll pique your interest and allow you to go down that hole or click that link or go whatever. There's a lot of noise on there. A lot of noise.
Especially when the price runs up. A
lot of beef. A lot of noise. But I understand people's life is fast, and it's hard to sit down and read a book or absorb information. So in that situation, what I would say is outsource it to other people.
Yeah.
Because if I read a book, which I have, and you follow my Twitter, you're going to see me insert thoughts. And those thoughts sometimes they come from myself, but those thoughts primarily were formed by something that I, book that I read or,
article, podcast.
Yeah. So outsource it. Just go on your Twitter, start skimming by, and you'll see some stuff, and it's groundbreaking stuff, and that'll get you going. That's the easiest way I tell people. I don't think there's another platform. You're on Facebook. I'm not. I don't think Bitcoin's.
There's Bitcoin groups on Facebook, but they're led by, scammers from other countries, and it pales in comparison to what Bitcoin Twitter is.
Instagram, same thing, I'm sure.
There's some decent pages. There's actually some good meme pages. that just have like bites of information.
And in Instagram, memes is the digestion. That's how you're supposed to consume the.
Yeah.
You're not in the freaking caption.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, yeah. So that's it, guys. We're going on 50 minutes here now. Like I said, we're always open in the inboxes and the comments. We can get better about checking email, but there is a way to find this. Twitter's the easiest place. Just reach out to us. Let us know if you want to kind of redo this episode with information. We take all, any feedback, anything. But we hope this helped a bunch of people. Lately, we've talked about this off the mic as well, I know, but we've been talking to a lot of people that are very new to the space, and their interest is piqued. They have gotten to that point where now they want to find out more. So we wanted to do this episode to kind of follow up, because I know sometimes we get on here and just talk about current stuff, and we go moving, and somebody might be like, "Oh, well, I said fuck that," and screw it. Yeah. It's because we're in here. Yeah, we're in here. But yeah, if you guys want, a whole episode of multi-sig, maybe we can set that up. Anything like that, guys, subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, I think the button's right below. I haven't been on YouTube for a while, but subscribe button's below. The bell still gives the notifications. I think that's across the board, guys. If you're listening on your favorite podcasting platform, that system applies. You can subscribe. You'll get notifications when we go live. If you're on Lightning and you're using any of those powered apps, we do, accept some Lightning sats. You can do that. Send it our way. Yeah, man, I got nothing else for this is 32?
32,
Episode 32. We appreciate you guys as always. I appreciate you, Ben.
Yes, sir. Likewise.
And we're going to keep this rolling. We'll see you guys next week. Later, guys.